still ahead.
If we were to call people and allow them to speak, those who have lost, those some who have won, and they are to tell you how people have put their nose into their constituencies, you will be shocked how people have decided to put their fingers across the constituencies. This was something that I will never agree.
As Aswasi MP accuses national executives of masterminding the defeat of some of his colleagues, former Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu tonight confirms that Muntaka Mubarak was a target by powerful forces within the NDC for removal.
Shada would be concerned that if there was a major vote, how will this 16, 17 people relate if they so believe what the Honorable Muntaka is speaking to? What the NDC needs now is unity.
Also, loss of 17 MPs in the NDC primaries will affect parliamentary business. Details as Haruna Idrisu calls for unity.
Not the best of development for the cohesion and unity of the party and for the use of experience, hands, and the wisdom from those experiences to keep the unity of the NDC and the parliamentary organ together.
We have details as calls for unity is being trumpeted by the party. Also tonight, elected parliamentary candidate for Ningo Prampram backs decision by the special prosecutor to investigate MP aspirant for Ejurase Dumase over a suspected case of corruption.
Stickler for discipline, and I would maintain and insist that if anybody has fallen foul of our regulations, be they as a party or as the country, the right sanctions should apply.
Also, former President Mahama's 40 city transport support is also being investigated by the special prosecutor. We'll hear from them details of that, plus a statement from the Ghana Integrity Initiative on this. Also tonight, President Akufo-Addo gave strongest indication the country will begin to witness economic recovery as he expects the International Monetary Fund to approve a first loan tranche of $600 million as soon as Wednesday.
We're going to see the beginning of the recovery because we've been improving with the IMF. We're in a strong position to make other arrangements.
And in business, government is expecting to get about $1.2 billion in IMF cash disbursement after the board approves the program this Wednesday.
And in sports, head coach of Dreams FC confident of avoiding relegation following the team's securing final bet of in the MTN FA Cup.
And much later.
So we are officially counting down.
96 hours and still counting of cooking over 250 recipes. 27-year-old Hilda Bassi aims for 100 hours after breaking world cooking record earlier today. And we also latest for the spotlight on the timeless proverb of Sanarugu MP A.B. Fuseni, excited about parliamentarians amongst others.
So a man who has died in the market, you don't need to announce his funeral. They say that you must first have heard before you can chew.
That's why I say don't be in a hurry to count your chickens before the eggs hatch, because you could be mistaken. You count eggs as chicken.
We have details of that and more here on Newsnight after this short break. But do well to join us with your thoughts and comments. Via WhatsApp is 055-1111-997. I am Emefa Apawu.
My name is Mensah. And you're still live here on Newsnight is on Joy 99.7 FM. And let's start with politics, shall we? As Swasi MP accuses national executives of the NDC of masterminding the defeat of some of his colleagues, former Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu is tonight confirming also that Muntaka Mubarak was himself a main target by powerful forces within the NDC for removal.
Well, 17 sitting MPs have lost their candidature ahead of the main polls in December 2024, a development which is of concern to the former whip and the former Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu. Well, we can hear from the Aswasi MP Muntaka Mubarak, who is accusing national executives of being the mastermind behind the defeat of his colleagues. Listen.
These are colleagues who have gone for election. If we were to call people and allow them to speak, those who have lost, those some who have won, and they are to tell you how people have put their nose into their constituencies, you will be shocked how people have decided to put their fingers across the constituencies. This was something that I will never agree. If I would hear any person doing that, I will have insisted that the person be brought to book. Look at the numbers that we've lost. I'm hearing 17, 16. Yes. Whichever it is, that is too large a number. Because in 2009 and 2000, prior to the 2020 election, we were only 109 in the chamber. With the leader Haruna, we worked so hard to make sure that minimum loss was achieved. only 9 people lost. If you slice it even by percentages, you see that that was a smaller percentage than the loss today. I'm not going to call names. Regardless of the head, I'm not going to stand in the public to wish NDC bad or to say that NDC should break or to exacerbate the confusion. I'm only drawing attention that, look, we have a lot of work to do, especially our council authority.
Well, the former minority leader, Haruna Idris, is also confirming the involvement of powerful forces within the NDC fold, which possibly led to the loss of the MPs, as well as the stifle position those who even won also faced.
As for Andamai, we do hear packets of it. In fact, the Honorable Muntaka was a target, and Ghanaians will appreciate him someday in the foreseeable future. If there is any member of parliament who provided discipline, provided cohesion, was in control of chamber dynamics, it was the Honorable Muntaka. I have said that I don't want to comment publicly on the reshuffle that happened to me and him and the Honorable Aveji, but just to say that for purpose of the future, we are human beings before we are politicians, and we ought to be treated as human beings. Beyond that, I don't intend to comment on that. I've put a minority leader behind me. In any case, how can my aspiration be to lead opposition? It can't be a worthy political aspiration. I want to be in government. And I'll strive to work to be in government, nothing more. So that is past. As he himself said, we work hard as leaders to increase the NDC parliamentary seats from 106 to 137 compared with the presidential outcome. It means we did well. And Ghanaians appreciated what we did. We got a speaker elected. We were united. Thanks to Muntaka. Show me any minority in the world that can hold a government for 6 months, yet he could keep the unity of the caucus. Nobody slipped through. When we said that we won't allow a JEPA, the questionable corrupt deal to go through with e-levy. So it means we provided leadership, but nonetheless, some people have been so put in that position.
Well, he also highlights the potential threat the loss of the 17 MPs pose to parliamentary business going forward if the party does not work to enforce unity among members.
Not the best of development for the cohesion and unity of the party and for the use of experienced hands and the wisdom from those experiences to keep the unity of the NDC and the parliamentary organ together. I shudder would be concerned that if there was a major vote by government tomorrow in Parliament, how will these 16, 17 people relate to the matter before them if they so believe what the Honorable Muntaka is speaking to? But all the same, what the NDC needs now is unity. Nothing more than that.
But I would want to find out briefly from you, because there were talks also that the party was working against the likes of you as well. What really will be the motive of the national executives in working against the likes of you and Muntaka and the rest of them?
Anybody seeking to fight against Haruna Idris in Tamale South is searching for a needle at midnight. That person would not be successful in darkness. That's a near impossibility. I have the full backing and absolute support of my constituents, and they don't intend to abandon me now until probably as and when. But I do know that in competitive democratic politics, there are egos to manage. There are people who naturally would want to undermine others. I don't have evidence to that. I haven't spoken to any of the defeated candidates, but just to urge them to work hard with whoever have emerged in their consensus for the NDC to retain those seats and for us to work to improve. My focus in Northern Region is to improve the NDC seats from 9 probably to 15 in 2024, working with my colleagues, whether new or old. And that is my primary focus.
Well, he did not have anybody contesting him. He went unopposed.
4 times.
Exactly.
4 times he's done that unopposed.
But many of his colleagues in the House had people challenging them, and 17 of them fell. First, I know you've been trying to reach some of them for comment.
Well,
were you successful in any?
No, none of them. Unless I think the Navrungu Central MP is the only one who's softened his stance about speaking about this. But we did the former Power Minister, Dr. Kwabena Donko, Pru East. We called. He doesn't want to speak about this. Alhaji ABA Fuseni of Sanarugu, his phone has been off the whole day since
trending
yesterday,
since
and still
lost.
trending. And he has not been able to answer, or it's not gone through at all. We also have Alex Adumaku Mensah of Setra Franplains not been able to reach. He's been unreachable. Edward Bauer, I'm sure the entire newsroom has tried reaching him. It rings at some point, but I've been unsuccessful speaking to him. Wisdom Gidisu, same. We haven't been able to reach. Abeku Krenzel of Ekumfi, also one of them. Delasoa MP for Bando, one with particular called as well. We've called her and it's been unsuccessful as well. Angela Ofuriwa Alowute Afajatu South, unsuccessful. We also have Kobna Mensah Weyome South Tong MP, particularly I called him as well, but he wouldn't speak to us. And Thomas Ada Dalu MP for Chiana Paga is one of the MPs. Albert Akuka of Garu, also there. Samson Tangoba Chiragia, Navrungu Central MP. Yes, we would subsequently speak to him. And then Augustine Teria Bia West, Peter Kwachiaka Amenfi Central, Christian Otute in Sege, were unable to reach him. And then Edward Derry Lambusi, he was beaten by Titus Bayu. And then Sophia Akwaku, currently MP for Obum Domiabra, but she switched to Ayawaso Central NDC primaries, one of the constituencies that we focused on, and she won't also speak to us just yet. So these are the 17 MPs who have lost their candidature as we speak in the NDC.
Let's speak to Dr. Rashid Dramani with the Africa Parliamentary Network. Joins us on the telephone line right now. Doc, thanks for your time here on Newsnight.
Thank you, Evans.
Great to have you join us via Zoom, and we're struggling to hear him for a bit. We could get his volume up a bit. And we just listened to Harun Idrisu concerned that the sheer number of incumbent NDC MPs who've lost the primaries, which means they will not have a chance to contest in the main elections next year, will pose a challenge to the party in Parliament. You agree?
Yes, Evans, I totally agree. And, I was thinking that the fallout from, the reshuffle that happened a few months ago, I was thinking that the NDC had put that behind it. But if you listen to Haruna and then you listen to Muntaka, I think you get a sense that that ghost is still haunting the party. And in terms of absolute numbers, yes, comparatively speaking, I mean, the party has done worse than before. But if you look at it, 12%, that is something to be expected. Perhaps even more, if the trends in terms of attrition rates, are anything to go by. But if you dig deep and you begin to look at people with a lot of experience, like the Honorable Member for Pru East, Dr. Kwabena Donko, and others, then I think you begin to see, I saw two problems, but now listening to the two of them, I see three problems. The first problem, Evans, is how do you manage parliamentary business between now and when, this parliament gets dissolved?
Especially when you have a hung parliament.
Exactly. All these people who have lost, if they have grievances against the party, first of all, even without those grievances, we see day in, day out, an empty chamber. Speaker struggling to get a quorum. Now, with this happening, I think this is going to have a very, very serious impact in terms of getting these people to cooperate with the whip and get parliamentary business done. The second, I think, is perhaps maybe the longer term in terms of the experience members not coming back to the House. That no party can legislate, but we've been saying over the years, that I think the parties can have some gentleman agreement and look at what is their agenda going forward and try to see whether internally they can have a family conversation and see which seats need to be protected and so on and so forth. And this is for both parties. So that's the second problem. But the much larger problem, Evans, is the fallout and the unity that seems to be eluding the caucus in Parliament following, the reshuffle. That happened a few months ago. And as Haruna said, they are human beings before they are politicians. And so, that's what most of us have been saying. You can reshuffle, the party has a prerogative to change its front bench and so on. But the manner in which you do it, I think, is what can get people to come along with you.
And there's a conversation you've introduced again that keeps coming up, which is parties must consider which MPs to protect. The retort to that has always been that will be undemocratic. Would it not?
Yes, indeed. That's why I said you can't legislate. But you see, it's a game of numbers, and it's also a game where every party that goes into the competition wants to win power. So now, if as we have seen over the years, parties having their hands in terms of who they want, they usually would have their hands in terms of who they want, but they would not do anything to protect those who are holding those seats. So that is a challenge, Evans. You can organize yourselves in such a way that we don't want a situation where like we saw with the second deputy speaker, we have seen with many other MPs. The party gets involved, doubles in the process, and in the end, the people would say, well, we want this person, or the front is divided in the constituency and the party ends up losing completely. So yes, undemocratic, but I think they can have a conversation internally. This discussion has been going on and on and on. We saw how the majority leader has had to struggle in the last election. Hang on to his seat, and many other experience and peace.
I want to say a big thank you to you, sir. That's Dr. Rashid Dramani there, hitting on a few notes when it comes to MPs each time we have a primary or we go to national elections in the numbers that fall by the wayside. Let's talk to the party's own leadership in the House now.
That majority side instead. I'm sure they are keenly watching this particular development. On the opposing side, we have the Deputy Majority Chief Whip, Habib Idris, joining us on the phone. We're grateful for your time here on Newsnight, sir. So I'm sure you've been watching, really. First off, to start with, which of the defeats of this 17 MPs shocks you the most?
Good evening, and I do sympathize with all the 17 that lost. Fine brains, very much surprised, but not was expected by the defeat of Kwabena Donko. If you look at what actually happened in Parliament after the change of the leadership, he was outspoken, who said what the party did was wrong. He was part of the 77 or so who petitioned that Muntaka, Haruna, and Aveji shouldn't have been changed. And then his relationship with KT Hammond during the ministerial voting was made clear. So such people were actually hunted, and it was expected that the NDC were coming after him. So I thought he could survive it, but he was unable. A good experience hit a lot, especially in the Mines and Energy Committee of Parliament. About 4 of the members of that committee lost. Kwabena Donko being a member, Delo Sowa, who is the deputy ranking in the Edward Bauer, a very fine brain who actually been able to very active in the committee and in Parliament. So all these things have happened, but we do sympathize with them, but it's actually going to affect a lot of things in Parliament, especially our colleagues from the other side, how they are going to put their numbers together when there is serious decision for them to be able to take, and especially committee work with the Mines and Energy Committee, because it is a key factor based on when you look at the NDC, when they were doing their reshuffle or the leadership, they said they are aware. The chairman said that they are aware that 2024 election, they are going to be about the finance, about the energy sector and the housing sector. But now you have lost, been able to hand 4 of your key members out of Parliament.
Does this play very well into the hands of the NPP in Parliament?
Yes, we, the majority, we will not say we are happy that it has happened because we will also be going for our election. But there are a number of MPs on the other side that have lost. I think 17, and I think 3 of them didn't contest at all. Aveji didn't contest at all, Avoka, and I think 1 or 2 others. So it means that about 20 or more of their members wouldn't be coming. But I wouldn't be surprised that independent candidates will spring up from these constituencies. When nominations are open for the Electoral Commission to conduct the 2024 election, I wouldn't be surprised, and these things are expected. But we, in the majority, we are not actually celebrating it. We are just putting our house in order and to be able to focus to prosecute government agenda.
Okay. Well, we'll leave it here. Thank you so much. We'll see how it pans out when Parliament resumes. That's the Tolong MP and Deputy Majority Chief Whip in Parliament, Habib Idris there.
And you're still live here on News 90 on Joy 99.7 FM. And let's focus on another aspect of the primaries this weekend, which is the story of some of the aspirants who were found to be inducing the delegates. A very blatant case has come up for criticism. Juliana Kinan Wasan, who was seen in our videos that we had exclusively, just throwing cash to the delegates, while the Member of Parliament for Nego Pram in the Greater Accra region, Samuel George, is back in the decision by the Special Prosecutor to investigate that defeated MP aspirant for the DRA, Secho Dumase, over that suspected case of corruption. Now, Madam Wasan, according to a letter intercepted by Joy News, is one of the persons of interest for the Special Prosecutor's actions during the opposition party's presidential and parliamentary primaries. Now, the MP aspirant, who lost to the incumbent MP, Muhammadu Bawa Brahma, was seen in this viral video. Many of you have seen it, standing in his open-top vehicle and just throwing the cash. There is more in this report by Nana Wache Yadom, who saw it all unfold.
Article 33, Clause 1 of the Representation of People Law 1992 provides that a person commits the offense of bribery if he or she makes a gift or provides something of value to a voter to induce the vote in a certain way. At the DRA Secho Dumase constituency, delegates rushed for cash as parliamentary aspirant Juliana Kinan Wasan shared money at the electoral grounds during her entry. Some delegates were seen receiving envelopes from agents of some candidates. Incumbent MP Bawa Brahma also shared knapsack spraying machines to delegates. This is a gift from Honorable Bawa Brahma. He said we should use it on our farms. We want to say a very big thank you to him, and we hope this primaries goes well for him as well. Communications officer of the NDC at the DRA Secho Dumase constituency, Abubakar Sadiq Osman, told Joy News candidates found culpable will face appropriate disciplinary action.
It's actually against the party rules. We have instructed all candidates to be mindful of their the things they do that go to undermine the quality of the process we're kind of having here. So where we are now, I'm sure it will be very difficult for you to actually kind of imprint the person, because we're going for a contest. Any move to kind of try to correct them now would look as if you're being biased towards the person.
Well, we can now hear from the Ningo Pram MP, Sam George, welcoming the decision of the OSP to investigate.
Well, I'm in no position to direct the national executives on what steps to take. I believe that we've elected national executives as a political party to take such decisions. I've been elected as a member of Parliament to represent the party in Parliament. I will take decisions on that as a member of Parliament. When it comes to administrative decisions in the party, I think that the elected officers have that as their mandate.
I mean, you never shy away from expressing your opinion. What would your opinion be on whether this should be investigated?
Well, for me, the point I'm making is simple. It's their decision to make. But if anybody takes action that breaches our rules, be they as a party or the electoral rules of our country, it's only right that the necessary remedial or administrative steps are taken and actions are taken. And this should actually help us strengthen our vetting procedure and vetting processes and be careful about the kinds of persons who we even clear to contest. What are their motivations? What are their motives? And so I'm one who is a stickler for discipline, and I would maintain and insist that if anybody has fallen foul of our regulations, be they as a party or as the country, the right sanctions should apply.
Well, so it's not just Secretary Mensah that this particular incident occurred. We are told about some delegates receiving monies. There were cases where candidates parked vehicles with rice, amongst others, sharing with people. But Nanaya Ojima also has a report from what transpired in Aswase.
In a video that has gone viral on social media, Mohammed Muntaka Mubarak admits to paying an amount of 100 cedis as transportation to delegates in previous primaries. He boasts the amount is the least paid in primaries, comparing it to that done by colleagues.
It is love. It is not money. The highest I've ever given a delegate in my constituency. You can call and find out. It's 100 cedis, and that was even the last one. The cost of transport, the lunch, and probably dinner. Even that, I was insisting I was going to give them 50 because it is not about paying people money.
About 1,886 delegates were on the register for the Aswase primary. It was being speculated the supporters burst to the ground by incumbent MP Mohammed Muntaka Mubarak received some cash in these buses. This was vehemently disputed by the MP, who rather accused his opponent of vote buying. Nonetheless, delegates who were excited at the contest witnessed at Asawase confessed to receiving what they call motivation in the form of cash from candidates.
That envelope does not mean say envelope for the baby. Maybe different. I am a businessman.
Very interesting indeed. And as we've also been learning today, the Office of the Special Prosecutor is also set to investigate claims of inducement and conflict of interest leveled against former President John Mahama, who won the presidential primaries. We know that statement that went out just before the primaries that
given TNT.
We're going to get 40 cedis, I think, for each delegate. It's also subject now of some probe. The Ghana Integrity Initiative,
they have a statement out, and thankfully we've been joined on the phone by Michael Bwedi. He's a fundraising manager for GII. Thank you so much for joining us here on Newsnight, Mr. Bwedi. So I see that you're condemning this vote buying and financial inducements in the NDC primaries, but the OSP has taken particular interest in this. Is that enough?
Well, I think that it is not enough. And let me say good evening to your listeners, and good evening to you. It is not enough just indicating that the OSP is interested in the case. You see, some of these interests have been expressed. We haven't seen resolution. We all admit that elections are becoming very expensive in this country, and it is anecdotal evidence to support the fact that because of the monetization of our elections, corruption is thriving in this country. What we want to see is progress through the whole mile or length of the law, so that if indeed some people are found on the wrong side of the law, then the law is made to discipline them. There should be deterrence. We are getting into 2024, and we are all anxious
as to what is going to happen. Because let's not forget that the 2024 election, like all other elections, the stakes are high. And therefore, a lot of things will happen. And therefore, we say that this should be a test case so that we see what will happen. There are also contestation doing the rounds that, well, the law regulating elections are for public elections and not for inter-party elections. What we want to say is that the expression that the OSP had indicated or made, let's see how that plays out. Then we will know what follows. But it is for us, the initial invitation is good, but we want to see beyond the invitation. Some action ought to be taken so that we can stop this vote buying and its impact on our elections.
Okay, we're grateful. That's Michael Bwedi, fundraising manager for the Ghana Integrity Initiative, joining us there on it. So the Ghana Integrity Initiative has also joined this particular issue, but we are waiting to see the outcome of the Office of the Special Prosecutor's investigation. Let's do business now. George. Hi.
The man who broke the news about the pending financial assurances that we're going to get also joins us, and we're expecting the executive board approval to come on Wednesday.
Well, the economists will say, all other things being equal, it is the expectation that the board should approve Ghana's program on Wednesday. And when they do that approval, immediately they will come with an approval of the first tranche of the IMF cash, and the
half
transfer,
of the $3 billion.
That's about 600 or 700 million dollars should be approved to be disbursed. International transfers, procedures, and all the rest. The money could hit Bank of Ghana's account maybe Friday or latest by Monday. It should hit Bank of Ghana's account.
Cash nabo.
Well, there are a lot of things that comes with the program, conditionalities as well. Quite some interesting and tough times ahead for this economy. Well, events coming up in business. Government expects about $1.2 billion in IMF cash disbursement for this year, after the board approves the country's program, that is possibly this Wednesday. And the road transport operators announced a 10% reduction in transport fares beginning, that is this Wednesday, May 17, 2023. We're getting you more details on that one. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Ghana Pay and Alliance Life. So let's now settle for the details. And events news just coming in suggests that the Ghana Private Road Transport Union, and that is the Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council, they have jointly announced a 10% reduction in transport fares starting this Wednesday, 17th of May, 2023. Now, they say that this is in line with the reduction in prices of some petroleum products over the period, and that is what has influenced their decision to reduce prices of transport fares by 10%. That is this Wednesday, May 17, 2023.
That's good news. Rarely do you see prices come down, so if the transport fares go down. The next big question is monitoring to ensure that the trotros and the taxis actually reduce their fares.
And the indicators even suggest that prices of petroleum products could be coming down again from tomorrow, and therefore they are saying that this would also affect share taxis, intercity transport, and also intercity and long distance as well. So the news is that they are going to reduce their fares by 10%. That is from this Wednesday, May 17, 2023. Now, government has indicated that it is hoping to get about $1.2 billion disbursed to the country, that is this year, under the IMF program. Now, this will be realized once it gets the IMF board to approve its program. This week, Minister of State at the Finance Ministry, Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam, disclosed this to Joy Business and yet to be at PM Express Business Edition.
The first tranche of disbursement of $600 million US dollars will start immediately, and so we are expecting that within a week or two that will drop in our accounts. There will be the second tranche disbursement after a successful review by November, December, and so this year alone we are expecting some 1.2 billion United States dollars. You can imagine what this will do. to our balance of payment position, what it will do to our budget, because there is budget support in that as well. The remaining amount will be disbursed in equal tranches of $360 million every 6 months after a successful review. Okay, and so the money will flow, and we are very confident that they will serve the purpose in bringing about macro stability. But at the same time, we are going to continue with the debt restructuring, because we have to bring our debt levels to sustainable levels, 55% of GDP by 2028.
And that is the Minister of State at the Finance Ministry, Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam, speaking on a yet-to-be-aired interview on PM Express Business Edition. Now, Forex Bureau operators say they expect the Ghana cedi to strengthen further in the coming days over the possible approval of the country's program with the IMF. The Ghana's Eurobond and the cedi has made some strong gains today after news that Ghana could get its first tranche of IMF cash by this Friday after the IMF program is approved. Dr. Alex Apawu is Vice President of the Ghana Association of Forex Bureau Operators.
Today we went to work, and the rain started, and people started stropping into our bureaus, and we realized that the price is just coming down. People, for instance, today as I'm speaking to you, we are selling $11.8, 0.67. So yes, speculation has brought down the rates once again. Ghanaian economy has been mostly driven by speculation, okay, which for me is very sad, okay, because speculation can be positive or negative, you understand? Yeah. But if the reality happens, there is no doubt that the rate will be coming down. The cedi will be more powerful, again than as we are seeing now, and therefore the rates will come down.
Vice President of the Ghana Association of Forex Bureau Operators, Dr. Alex Apawu. Now let's still stay on this subject, because the economist Professor William Boateng had told Joy Business that getting this program could result in a major turnaround for the economy.
Normally, there's this saying that if you want to know what will happen in the future, look at what has happened in the past. So not to take you so far, I mean, we were down the recession in the early 1980s. So we had the IMF program. So let's say the Bretton Woods institution came in. That's the economic recovery program and the structural adjustment. It has its own negative effects. There's no doubt about that. But at least we're able to recover. And since 1984, we had never recorded any negative growth as a country. So when IMF comes in, it gives some kind of confidence to external creditors. It gives confidence to almost everybody. They become police on how we do things, and that will also make policymakers and government conform, not to minimize the excesses in terms of something that will bring the economy to its knees. So for the IMF coming in, I think it will give us the stability that we want.
Economist Professor William Boateng. Now, mining service provider Engineers and Appliances has indicated that it is working hard to help improve the indigenous participation in the mining sector. This was revealed after the firm signed a $230 million Caterpillar equipment financing agreement with Mensah Group of Dubai and Egypt. Engineers and Planners maintain that the deal, together with other initiatives, should help maintain some strong capital in the industry going forward. Now, Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection is calling for more investment into information technology to increase the knowledge base of social and economic issues. The minister's call is coming as part of events to mark the International Day of Family, that is today. Deputy Minister, that is Francisca Mensah, maintained that this is key to have more young persons develop interest in tech-based education. She spoke at a walk and a town hall meeting in Teshi in Accra today.
Technology has become an integral part of our everyday life as individuals and as families. From our smartphones to our computers and even our home appliances, all have been built to fit our busy daily schedules and to function effectively. Popular video calling applications such as Skype, WhatsApp videos, FaceTime act as a huge communication medium for families to stay in touch. Even though the family members may not be physically present, these video calls allow them to be involved and participate in the celebration with everyone.
That's all for business on Newsnight. Back to you, Evans and Emefa.
And John, we are looking forward to Wednesday. You'll be talking about this, about the expectation that we may get the IMF Executive Board approval. The president himself has also been expressing those same expectations.
Okay.
He's been speaking about this. Listen to the president on that.
Next Wednesday, the board itself will meet and final approval to the billion amount. So the sacrifices that the countries have to make this last year, the difficulties of the day, will be in the long last. We're going to see the beginning of the recovery. Because with the approval of the IMF, we're really in a strong position to make other arrangements that will help our economy get back into a strong place.
Already the business community, they are looking forward to the money arriving and the executive board giving that approval. The Association of Ghana Industries already is looking forward to the money coming, hitting our account, providing a basis for businesses to thrive again. Listen to the Greater Accra Regional Chairman of the AGI, Chonam Apawu.
Well, some confidence improve over time. So all of these activities, the relief from IMF, means that they will contribute to improving the confidence in the business space. And what will be more interesting for us is when a decision is finally made, because all of these are being done to ensure that we receive a favorable decision and the money actually trickle in. So these are really good news and good time, except that we have to wait to see the money, because as it is now, we don't have timeline. We're not sure that if the next time the board is meeting, they will necessarily make a decision. So all of this, we can only wait and pray that we have a decision and the money finally comes in. Because as it is now, it's still quite hard for the private sector.
So private sector already looking forward to the IMF Executive Board approval. Let's look forward now to sports, and Ms. Bao is here with details. Hello, Ms. Bao.
Yes, hello, Ivan. So the Ghana Premier League side, Dreams FC, qualified for their first ever cup final after defeating Division 1 side Sky FC in the semi-final of the MTN FA Cup at the Dr. Kwame complex over the weekend. Now, the moment, however, the club battling relegation in the Ghana Premier League, where they are lying 16th with 38 points, 1 point outside the relegation zone. And head coach of the side has been speaking after that game, which they won over the weekend, and insisting that he would do all he can to ensure that the team escape the drop.
Well, I told you from the beginning that playing a Leicester to the top is very difficult. I told you, I didn't hide it. I know I will win, but I find it very difficult, and this is what has happened. So, me winning today, as you said, has motivated me to fight for the cup. But I wasn't surprised the way they played. You understand me? Because the sense of purpose in their game was not there. But they were trying to do some but we were here to qualify. So when you see the way we were playing, we were more on that offense when we had the ball more than them. They hold the ball more. They felt the ball more. But we look at the way we go. Then we are there. They beating us, they make history. We beating them without nothing. You understand me? So I told my boy, let's go in to get what we wanted, and we try to contain them. Then we take them on counter. So look at the way we've been going. You understand me? So to me, our game plan worked to perfection. Going to the finals is a big plus to the club. And myself, it also improved my CV. So escaping relegation is normal. And I'll do it, inshallah.
Congratulations, coach.
Thank you very much.
Do Karim Zito, head coach for Dreams FC over there.
Well, thank you very much, Musbao. And it was a rainy and very wet Monday morning, and some parts of the capital were left flooded following the torrential rains that lasted well over 4 hours. My colleague Carlos Canoni has been out and about. Report from Glife in the Ablikuma West Municipality.
Now, the rain, which started a little over 6:30 a.m. Monday morning,
as forecasted by the Ghana Meteorological Department, actually lasted well over 4 hours. Now, apart from impeding the movement of many commuters in the capital, houses and businesses sited in low-lying areas in Accra, like Glifi and its environs, experienced varying levels of floods. Now, for some residents here at Glifi in the Ablekuma West municipality of the Greater Accra region, the flood situation has become an annual ritual after every downpour.
Every time it is raining for small, you can see this situation we're going to pass with because of the gutters. As you can see, this gutter hindered here. It didn't came to this side. So anytime the rain falls, we have these problems. If it's what you can say is small.
If it rains here like this, we suffer. Today like this, people we couldn't go out because we have stuck in the water. The kids didn't go to school because of the rain. We also, me myself, I couldn't come out because there's all the place is watery. We cannot come out.
Many were seen scooping flood waters from their rooms. However, following the unfortunate drowning of 9 school children in a nearby community of Fana, residents here at Glifi say they fear their kids could drown in the many stagnant waters in the community.
There are some children around here. If they are going to school, normally they pass this side. They can fall into the water if they are dressed up going to school. Or even if people are selling, they can put the food inside. Even you can even fall into the water if you are going to work or if you are passing.
They say ebi wa mu bakra no mu doji we no kwa no mato so no no ma san so mo chichi yes la ban say on be boy oslanso on be hwe hamaye aha no ye fe abutre janshi nti on bo modin a no be hwe hamaye na nkwala fe mu kosku ye manu nina this said we o mu hwe yechi.
We want the authorities to help us as the kids will die among us. So we are begging for the government to come and help us.
Well, so that was the situation in Glifi today. And Evans, how long can you cook? How long?
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Oh yeah.
Can you? So you can't go beyond 5 minutes, can you?
No, I mean when I was in the UK, I was cooking for longer hours. Because
thank God it's just cooking that you can just cook for 5 minutes.
No, I can cook for far longer. Now I'm 5 minutes, but back in the day, I could go for 2 hours.
Just cooking.
Yes, cooking. Yes.
Cooking.
Variety of dishes
2
that will
hours.
last me a month.
Okay, well, Hilda Bassi, I'm sure you've heard about her. She's, a social media icon, culinary dynamo amongst others. And she's been cooking after 3 p.m., 96 hours. She's already broken the world record for cooking. We know that the previous record was set by an Indian chef, Lata Tondon, in 2019. And he cooked, his record is at 87 hours, 45 minutes and 00 seconds. And well, she's hoping to go 100 hours. And there's a lot of talk about it on social media, a lot of massive support also for her in Nigeria. But Michael Papania Shale has been monitoring, and some of the comments on Twitter joins us in studio. What are people saying?
Well, Emefa, it's quite an interesting one, but let's start with what Guinness World Record. So one person, Alexander the Great, I beg your pardon, tweeted as Guinness World Records that have they seen this? So his comment says, why is Guinness World Record not showing or talking about Hilda's cookathon? Well, can't see anything on their pages, and he lists all of them. Then he gets a response.
Guinness tweeted earlier that they've seen it, but they have to verify it.
Yes, exactly. And quotes from Guinness World Record, like you said, where he says, we are aware of this amazing record attempt. We need to review all the evidence first before officially confirming a record. But on the comments that have come following this, interestingly, Ghanaians seem to be, claiming her. Well, from her name, it suggests that she's Nigerian. And you have Asiedu Menzu, who's one of Ghana's influencers, says that, well, we are waiting. She made Ghana proud and puts a Ghana flag there and with 2 hearts there. Yes, and you can imagine what the Nigerian says. There's one from Abdul. He says, make una stop this play.
But I thought we were brothers and sisters. Didn't they
no, not for this, because Ghanaians don't seem to be saying we are
it appears this has been streaming and some were cheering her on.
So we are officially counting down. So yeah, we are almost there. Woo!
People very excited for her indeed. Do you want to take up that challenge?
No, I can't.
Okay, but how many hours? I can do 2 hours. How many hours can you do?
It's cooking, eh?
Yes.
Okay, we'll see. I think I can go like 5 hours, 10 hours.
You
Should
think?
we try?
You're not sure?
Oh, cooking.
Okay.
I can.
I'm looking for a cooking proverb for you, but I'm struggling. Shall we ask ABA Fuseni?
Of course.
Okay.
Don't be in a hurry to count your chickens before the eggs hatch, because you could be mistaken to count eggs as chicken.
If a lion is found of patronizing the marketplace, they will treat it like a puppy. When the horse joins the race, the donkey will be seen as the ass that it is, to smoke the dust of the horse. But when an elder is in the house, the grain will not be allowed to be soaked by the rain. So a man who has died in the market, you don't need to announce his funeral. They're saying that you must first have heard before you can chew corn.
You see, first you have to chase away the hyena before you blame the goat. It's been said, you don't show an indigene the way to his house. The testicle that will degenerate into hernia, it will be spotted from the very first day it descends.
In fact, everything that in the country has gone up except the height of the president.
And we're really going to miss ABA Fuseni's proverbs on the floor of Parliament and in media interviews because he lost his parliamentary primary as well.
Dear.
It's the saddest one for me.
Well, if you see a pregnant goat in the market, it means there's a pregnant problem at home.
And he had a big pregnant problem that he couldn't solve in the primary. Unfortunately, he lost.
And that's how we wrap up tonight's edition of News Night. We have That's My Opinion coming up next.
Yes, Obatampada.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Obatampada. The day for Obatampa.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay.